Hey there, night dwellers. Join the Phantom Troupe for a serene escape into dreamland with enchanting sleep stories. Let the calming tales transport you to a world of peaceful slumber and restful nights.
Hey there, I'm Isabella, your sweet storyteller. It warms my heart to have you here with me. Tonight, we're set for an adventure into the world of mystery and suspense. Get ready to be hooked by a story that unfolds in the shadows of the unknown, where every page brings us closer to an unsolved enigma. Before we dive into the gripping narrative, take a moment to let go of the day's events. Inhale deeply, letting the weight of the world lift from your shoulders. Exhale, embracing the soothing calm that surrounds you. As we embark on this mysterious tale, picture yourself on the edge of anticipation, eager to uncover the secrets that lie ahead. The story we're about to unfold draws inspiration from real-life enigmas, weaving a tapestry of intrigue that will keep you on the edge of your seat. Feel the tension in your muscles dissipate with each breath. With the day behind you and relaxation setting in, let the excitement of the unknown heighten your senses. Together, we'll navigate through the twists and turns of this suspenseful narrative. Now, as the world fades away and the mystery unfolds, allow the soothing rhythm of my voice to guide you into a tranquil state. Stay tuned as we step into the mysterious unknown, where every moment holds the promise of revelation. Anna Lindh was born on June 19, 1962, in Stockholm, Sweden. She was a prominent Swedish politician and member of the Social Democratic Party, SAP, which is the largest political party in Sweden. Lindh was well respected both domestically and internationally, and she held several important positions throughout her political career. In 1998, she was appointed Sweden's Minister for Foreign Affairs, a role she held until her tragic death in 2003. Lindh was regarded as an eloquent and compassionate leader, known for her firm commitment to human rights, international cooperation, and Sweden's role within the European Union, EU. She was an advocate for social justice and a vocal supporter of EU enlargement, and deepened cooperation with the European community. At the time of her assassination, Lindh was one of Sweden's most high-profile politicians, having recently been a key figure in the country's opposition to the war in Iraq, an issue that had ignited fierce debate in Sweden and Europe as a whole. On the afternoon of September 10, 2003, Anna Lindh went to the NK Nordiska Companiet department store in central Stockholm to do some shopping. She was accompanied by an aide, but at the time of the attack, she was alone in a clothing section of the store. While in the store, Lindh was suddenly and brutally attacked by a man with a large knife. The assailant approached her from behind and stabbed her multiple times, including deep wounds to her chest and abdomen. Lindh tried to flee from her attacker, but she collapsed in the store. Passers-by quickly came to her aid, and an ambulance was called. Despite the swift response, the injuries were severe, and Lindh was rushed to the hospital. Doctors fought desperately to save her, but after several hours of surgery, she was declared dead on the morning of September 11th, 2003. The death of Anna Lindh sent shockwaves throughout Sweden and the international community, with many struggling to understand how such an attack could occur in the heart of of a peaceful Scandinavian city. The assassination was particularly shocking, not only because of the prominence of the victim, but also due to the method of attack. A public figure in such an open, everyday setting, being targeted so violently, raised questions about the nature of political violence in modern Europe. The investigation into Anna Lindh's murder began almost immediately after the attack. Swedish police were quickly able to identify a suspect, Mijailo Mijailović, a man with a troubled background. Mijailović was born in Serbia in 1978, and his family had immigrated to Sweden when he was young. He had a history of mental health issues, which would later become an important part of the investigation and trial. Mijailović was arrested in October 2003, less than a month after the assassination, after police received several tips about a man who was seen in the vicinity of the crime scene on the day of the murder. Forensic evidence, including DNA found at the scene and a description of the suspect, led investigators to Mijailović. Despite the evidence, Mijailović initially denied any involvement in the killing. He claimed that he had no recollection of the attack, even though the evidence against him was overwhelming. During the investigation, it became clear that Mijailović was a deeply troubled individual. He had been diagnosed with several psychiatric disorders, including a personality disorder, and had previously been treated for depression and other mental health issues. Mijailović's erratic behavior and the fact that he had been receiving psychiatric treatment at the time of the murder raised questions about his state of mind at the time of the attack. Mijailo Mijailović's trial began in 2004, and it quickly became one of the most high-profile trials in Sweden's history. The prosecution presented a compelling case, citing the forensic evidence linking Mijailović to the scene of the crime, as well as testimony from witnesses who had seen him in the vicinity of the store on the day of the murder. Mijailović, however, continued to deny his involvement, and his defense team argued that he was not mentally responsible for the killing. They presented evidence of his psychological issues, including his history of depression and schizophrenia, in an attempt to argue that Mijailović was not fully aware of his actions when he murdered Anna Lindh. The question of Mijailović's mental state played a central role in the trial. The prosecution contended that Mijailović had been fully aware of his actions and that his motive was rooted in a complex combination of personal grievances, including resentment towards Swedish society and his mental health issues. On the other hand, the defense argued that Mijailović was not criminally liable due to his unstable mental state. In the end, the Swedish court found Mijailović guilty of the murder of Anna Lindh. He was sentenced to life in prison. However, the case remained controversial due to the ambiguous nature of his motivations. While it was clear that Mijailović had killed Lindh, the question of why he did so remained largely unanswered. Despite the conviction, the question of Mijailović's motive continues to fuel debate. There are several possible explanations for why Mijailović may have targeted Anna Lindh, but none of them have been definitively proven. One theory suggests that Mijailović had been influenced by political factors, especially Lindh's outspoken opposition to the Iraq War. As a Serbian-born immigrant, Mijailović may have felt alienated from Swedish society and angry at Lindh's political stance. which he might have perceived as a betrayal of the Serbian cause or his personal experiences as an immigrant. Others argue that Mijailović's mental health problems were the primary cause of the murder. His defense team emphasized his history of psychiatric issues, suggesting that he may have acted out of a sense of delusion or irrational rage. His apparent inability to recall the events surrounding the murder suggests that he may have been experiencing a dissociative episode at the time of the attack. Another theory is that the murder may have been an act of personal revenge, perhaps motivated by a deep-seated grudge against society in general or against particular individuals. Some analysts believe that Mijailović harbored a sense of frustration and powerlessness, which he projected onto Anna Lindh, symbolizing an ideal of Swedish society that he could not identify with or accept. The assassination of Anna Lindh had profound effects on Swedish society and on the political landscape in Sweden and beyond. In the immediate aftermath of the murder, there was an outpouring of grief from the Swedish public, and Lindh's death was seen as a symbol of the vulnerability of public figures to acts of violence. Politically, Lindh's assassination occurred at a critical moment for Sweden, as the country was in the midst of a contentious national debate about joining the European Union's Economic and Monetary Union, EMU, and adopting the euro. Lindh had been a key advocate for Sweden's EU membership and had strongly supported European integration. Her death cast a shadow over the referendum on the euro, which was scheduled to take place later in 2003. The referendum was eventually held, and Sweden voted against joining the euro, a decision that some analysts believe was influenced by the national trauma of Lindh's murder. The assassination also had an impact on Sweden's relationship with the wider world. Anna Lindh had been a respected figure on the global stage, and her death raised questions about the security of politicians in open democracies. Her murder became a symbol of the dangers faced by public servants, particularly those involved in international diplomacy. The murder of Anna Lindh remains one of the most tragic and perplexing political assassinations of the early 21st century. While the case appeared to have been resolved with the conviction of Mijailo Mijailović, the true motives behind the killing remain unclear. Was it a politically motivated attack, the act of a mentally disturbed individual, or a combination of both? This question remains unanswered, and the lack of a definitive motive leaves the case shrouded in mystery. What is clear, however, is that Anna Lindh was a figure of significant importance in both Swedish politics and international diplomacy. Her death was not just the loss of a public servant, but the loss of a voice for justice, peace, and progress in a turbulent world. Despite the tragedy, her legacy endures, and she is remembered as a champion for human rights and a symbol of the enduring need for dialogue and cooperation in a divided world.